Alright, so I'm going to be showing how to open up and disassemble this Acer N20C12. Alright, so I don't know if that's the right model number. There's another model number, SFX14. That's all one row, -41G-R1S6. Okay, so anyways, what we're going to be doing, we're going to take apart this thing because the charge port is bad. I believe we're going to be using a T5 or possibly T6. Let's check here. I think it's actually a T6. Yep. Okay. So we're going to be using a T6 or Torx 6 screwdriver to remove the screws from the bottom. You want to keep the screws in order because they can be different size, shape, and lengths. The way I do that, I put them flat side down like this on my desk in the pattern I remove them. I believe the customer opened this up already, but let's go ahead and see. Hopefully the screws aren't mixed around if there are different length or sized ones. Alright, if this video helps you out, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. If it helps you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. Alright, anyways, let's go ahead and continue removing all the screws. So far they all seem to be the same, but again, it's always a good idea to put them in the pattern you remove them so that any slight differences will not cause any issues. Alright, okay, so we got 3 more screws. Oh, so this model is actually a Swift X, Acer Swift X N20C12 or SFX14-41G-R1S6. Okay, right, set that twice now. Okay, so let's go ahead and remove this. Also, there's a battery reset button here, so if you want, you can press and hold that with a pin or a folded out paper clip. Hold that for about 15 seconds to do any kind of reset. Alright, once we've gotten all the screws out, let's go ahead and see if we can just pop it out like this. I'm going to use my fingernails in this edge here and push with my thumb here. You don't want to push on the trackpad, just on the palm rest area. So let's see if we can pop the cover off like this. Okay, so that side popped out. Let's go ahead and go from this side, and you can see it's popping out pretty easily. Then I'm going to run my fingernail along here, avoiding to press on the trackpad itself, and there we go. Alright, now that we got that out, we're going to rotate it sideways, and I'm going to pull this up while I kind of run my fingernail along there, and you can see it kind of popped up quite a bit. Alright, flip it over, same thing, and there we go. Okay, now we can go ahead and lightly flip this over. Alright, and there we go. Okay, so it is a little bit dusty, so I'll clean that up later using a toothbrush and an electric air blower. You can see this model actually has 2 SSDs inside. We got the battery here that we're going to have to disconnect. The fan itself actually looks pretty clean, though I do see a little bit of dust in here. Okay, if you're wondering, RAM does appear to be soldered to the motherboard as well as the CPU and GPU, so there's not much you can do there. And most likely the RAM's under here. You got 2 SSDs. They're both M.2 PCIe NVMe's, it appears. I am going to have to pull the entire motherboard out to replace the charge port here. The customer said they damaged it or something. You can actually see a dent in the charge port there, so yeah. Alright, there's a lot to remove here to get to that. You can see there's the USB port here and the headphone jack. That's part of this board. It connects to the motherboard using this cable underneath. We're going to flip this tab up to remove it later, but first we're going to do the battery. Alright, you also got a speaker connector connecting to that board. Okay, anyways, let's go ahead and disconnect the battery. Battery model number, in case you need it, is right here, AP18E7M. Okay, hopefully you can read that. Okay, and yeah, let's go ahead now and pop the battery out. So we're going to zoom in a little bit, and we're going to undo the battery screws first using a, looks like PH1 or JAS1 screwdriver. Okay, so I'm using a JAS1, but if you have a PH1, I believe it'll work just as well. Okay, so we got that one screw out, and it looks like there's only one other screw up here. Okay, alright, so we'll get those 2 screws out. Now that we've got those, I'm going to use the wings here with my fingernails and kind of just wiggle this to pull that out. There we go. Now we can go ahead and lift this up. and kind of wiggle this. Oh, is there? Okay, we got to make sure to get this tape out because there's tape sticking things down, and there we go. We got the battery out. We'll set that aside. Okay, make sure to keep track of it. Okay, what's next? After removing the battery, what we're going to do, we're going to carefully, slowly open up the computer, and then we're going to press and hold the power button here for 15 seconds. This will drain any residual power and make it a lot safer to work on, okay? So we're going to hold it for a few more seconds. All right, and this is very important if you're going to be messing with the LCD LVDS connector. For most other components, it's not too important, but I would do it just because it only takes a few seconds, so might as well. Okay, SSD, you really don't have to do it because it's just down here by itself. And you don't have to worry. Anyways, we're going to disconnect the SSDs, so there's just one screw on each side. Okay, make sure you don't mix them up. You want to put them back in the same slot you took them out from. We're going to lift this up slightly, grab the edges, and then we can go ahead and wiggle this to pull it back. And there we go. All right, and then we'll set this aside. This looks like, is this an Intel Optane or something? There's not really much on this board. This is an NVMe. Oh, that's 512 gig. Huh. I wonder how they, well, I guess actually it doesn't take much. Like one of these chips can hold like 1 terabyte these days. Anyways, we're going to remove the other screw for this SSD. Lift this slightly, grab the edges, wiggle and pull, and there we go. And this is a Western Digital one, and that's also 512 gigs. All right, so similar design. There's only that one chip and then the controller and other stuff there. Okay, we'll set that aside. Okay, there we go. All right, Cmos battery, I guess we'll pop that out because I don't want to have to undo the adhesive there. So we're going to just disconnect it. Same thing with the wings. I just use my fingernails and kind of just wiggle as I pull. And there we go. Right, you don't want to tip it too far to one side because you don't want to bend the pins in there. All right, and we got the same thing with the speaker here. Just grab the wings, wiggle, and pull, and you can see it pops out. Also, take note of which side the wires are on. You don't want to flip this upside down. Usually they'll put some marker on top so you know which way is up, and also you can see the metal pins through this side. If you look at the other side, I'm not going to flip it over, but it'll just be solid plastic there. Okay, then we got this connector here for the trackpad or touchpad. Flip that latch up. There's all this pinkish stuff coming out. That is actually a thermal pad here for these pieces for the GPU. Anyways, we're gonna now grab this and pull that out. Be careful that you don't get the thermal paste, thermal pad stuff into these because you don't want to clog it up with junk. Okay, so I'm just going to try and clean it off a little bit with a toothbrush, and I'm going to use my air blower to kind of get that stuff out of there. It's not really too bad of an issue if it gets in these little pins, but you don't want to like have it so it separates this. All right, anyways, keyboard connector, there's these two black tabs. Kind of wiggle it down. Okay, once you pull those forward, you don't want to pull too hard because it's supposed to stay in place. Then we can go ahead and pull the cable out. Okay, keyboard backlight connector here. Flip that latch up. If you can grab this plastic layer that's on top, or you can kind of just grab again from the sides, but be very careful you don't damage the cable. Right, you got this connector here. I believe that's for the fingerprint sensor. Same thing, flip that latch up and just use my fingernail. You can use whatever plastic tools you want, and then grab that cable out as well. Fan connector here, we're going to same thing, just grab the wings and kind of just wiggle it as you pull, and there you go, it pops out. Okay, then if you want, you got two screws here, you can take those two out. All right, and I believe the fan will come out if we remove these two. Hopefully there's nothing trapped underneath because otherwise that would make the design not very good. A lot of times the fans go bad on laptops, so it's nice to be able to easily remove them. Okay, and yeah, just those two screws, very nice and easy. And it only has a little bit of dust in here, actually, it's not too bad. So I'm going to actually brush this with the toothbrush here. There's a hair there, we'll get that out. Brush it a little bit over here. And then I have this hand-powered air blower that I can use. Oh, actually, that's quite a bit of dust. Okay, I should do that outside. That's not bad idea. That was a bad idea. Okay, anyways, we got that. Here you can see this connector appears to be Okay, I don't think it's attached to the motherboard. Oh, there was a big clump of dust there. So we're going to take that out. Okay, I'm going to just brush this a little bit. Okay, and I'm probably going to disconnect this side because this side is underneath the wires and everything here. That's going to be more difficult. So we're going to flip this latch up, and then we can well, we'll wait till we pull out the whole motherboard. Okay, let's see what else we got. Wireless card over here. Let's go ahead and remove the screw for that. Do they change the screw? Do I have to use a smaller screw for this? Are you serious? Okay, it looks like JIS1 isn't cutting it for this. So we're going to now switch over to a JIS0, and we'll remove this screw. I don't like that design. Anyways, we're going to remove this one screw, just set it aside. If I don't have to, I'm going to avoid... Okay, so you saw I slid this plastic thing off. It actually slides on like that, and then it latches on. So you slide this back, and then you can pull that out. Okay, I'm going to see if I don't need to remove the wireless antennas. I'm going to leave them on because sometimes the solder job is not very good for the connectors on the wireless card and they get ripped out. It's pretty rare, but it happens. So anything I don't need to remove, I'm going to try and avoid. Did they seriously tape this here? Okay, so apparently they put some tape here. I gotta peel this out just to get the wireless antennas out. So we're gonna have to peel this up, it looks like. Let's see if I can get that out. It's stuck there pretty good. Okay, peel this up. Seriously? Okay. So they taped this here. I don't know why. Apparently some models have a second fan because there's this JFan 2 connector here. We were using the JFan 1 connector down here, okay? I don't know why they're hiding a fan connector there. Anyways, we'll take this out and we're just going to move it over to the side a little bit more. Okay, what else do we got to remove here? Hopefully you guys were able to see everything I'm doing because I don't know. Again, I have to keep looking up at my viewfinder. All right. So far, no screws here. Okay. We are going to remove the LCD Lvds connector. It looks like it's just a plug-in connector, so same thing with the wings. I just wiggle this with my fingernails, pulling it back, okay, just like that, and there we go. And you want to be careful with this, just like that. Got that connector out. Okay, if you want, you can wiggle it to go out of this little hook there and move that over. Okay, it looks like we are going to have to undo this hinge here to be able to get the motherboard out. Kind of an annoying design, but let's go ahead and get those two screws out. Okay, that one and this one. Okay, make sure to take note. I believe it was these two bottom ones. You can also check by checking the alignment of this, and yeah. Okay. What else do we got? One more screw hiding over here. Don't forget that one, because if you do, you can actually destroy your motherboard trying to lift it out. Okay, so you got that. Set that screw aside. I think that's all the motherboard screws, actually. They might be hiding some, hopefully not. Okay, anyways, what we're going to do, let's zoom out a little bit. I'm going to actually open the laptop a little bit. Okay, so I'm just getting my hand under here and lifting it up. Once you get it open up a little bit, you can go ahead and close this. Make sure that you're helping the screen or the laptop fall down flat, straight, so that way you don't break the hinge on the other side. And then we're going to now lift this up like that. Okay, there we go. We're going to move this cable out of the way by tucking it behind the hinge if it'll stay. I don't know if it will. All right, let's zoom out a bit more. And let's see if we can lift this board out. I don't know if they used adhesive to hold this cable down. Hopefully not. And hopefully they don't have screws hidden underneath here, but it seems like they might. And that's going to really suck because that means, yeah, I think I have to take the heatsink out and then redo all the thermal paste. Okay, yeah, because I don't see any other hidden screws, so... And this side actually seems to be more stuck. I don't see anything holding it, so it might be these protrude out. The USB-C port definitely protrudes out. Okay, so let's go ahead and take the heatsink out. Hopefully it really is necessary and I'm not doing this for nothing, but we'll find out. All right. And these are numbered, if you're wondering. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, okay? And when you take them out, it doesn't really matter which ones you take out in what order. But again, keep track of the screws. Make sure you don't mix them up. All right, so we got these two. And be careful not to drop them in the motherboard, of course. All right, then we got these three. This seems like it's going to be pretty difficult to separate, but we'll see, because the thermal pads and everything. All right, there we go. Okay, now what we're going to do, I'm going to try and pull it down this way. We're basically rotating it because you don't want to pull up and then end up bending this heat pipe, okay? If you can also try and get underneath these flat parts here. All right, I'm using my fingernail and helping pull it up a little, okay? Carefully, slowly. There we go, and then we can kind of lift from here and kind of slowly, carefully, okay. Wow, look at all that gunk. So this stuff kind of gets all gooped up. Hopefully it'll be okay when we put it back. We are going to redo the paste here and here. It looks like they might have put thermal paste under the whole thing, actually. I don't know who worked on this before, but it looks like they put thermal paste underneath the whole thing. Okay, but we are going to clean this out, clean these two, and then we're going to put it back on. Okay, so for now we're going to set this aside. All right, and yes, there was a screw hidden under here, very annoying. Okay, so we got those. Let me make sure I get the screws back in the right place. I have to make sure I'm not mixing anything up. So I had those, and then I had those two screws and this one, and then this one can go all the way over here, I guess. Okay, is that right? Okay, I think that's everything. So let's go ahead and see now. Can we lift this up? Actually, we do have to take this out as well because they put this adhesive here. So I'm going to use this plastic tool so it can come up a bit more cleanly, maybe, hopefully. No, it's still kind of getting some creases in it. Okay, so push that and peel that up. And there we go. And then we have this. The wireless antennas are actually right here on the bottom, it looks like. So they're not actually in the computer. All right, it looks like we're gonna close this one back down. Since we're taking all of this out, might as well undo the clip on this side, and then we can probably pull the cable out this way, right? And come on. And come on. And there we go. Okay, so we got that out. I'm gonna move this on top for now, and let's see if we can lift this side. Once you lift that side out, you can slide it over that way, right? I think we might have to lift it higher because there are these little posts here that are sticking on it. So I guess rotate it higher and come on, come out. Okay, you gotta be a little careful wiggling this. Apparently it's like stuck in there. Okay, there we go. So here you can see the bottom. Bunch of copper stuff here that kind of is just like loosely fit on top. This is just to help with heat dissipation as well. Okay, LA-L20. Oh, what is this? Wow, what happened to their, look what happened to their charge port. It's like melting or something, or the plastic is all coming out of there. And you can see it's all bent and stuff, so that's why it's having problems. Okay, I'm probably going to use the heat gun to just heat all the way around this and then slowly pull it out. That I might have to do off camera because I don't really have much room to work on it like that, but basically I'll use a solder heat gun that will heat this up really hot to where the solder melts on all these points, and then we can pull this out, and then I can actually use a solder iron to pull the solder out of these holes with a solder vacuum thing. Okay, and the solder vacuum is just a plastic thing that you push, it's spring loaded, and then when you push a button it just sucks air in real quick. Okay, yeah, I don't think there's really anything else to look at here. I think this is the full motherboard model number if you want that for some reason. GH4FZ and LA-L202P. I think that's the model, the LA-L202P. I think that's the motherboard model number. And yeah, okay. So yeah, RAM is definitely soldered there. And there's broken plasticky stuff there in this piece, so let's go ahead and clean that out. Okay, and it actually flew over to here, so okay, and then I'm probably gonna have to use an air blower to clean that out a little bit as well. All right, so I guess that's it for now. I'm gonna do the solder thing to remove this stuff. There's a lot of thermal paste here I need to remove because I'm gonna have to heat from this side, it looks like, and then pull this out. It's a little bit risky because there's these super tiny components here that I don't want to accidentally blow them off the board, so I'm going to have to use like a lower speed on the air, but here you can see what it looks like. Okay, and we're going to now remove these. Maybe I'll use like a box like this or something to put on top. And yeah. Okay, so for now I'm going to desolder this and then I'll come back. All right, see you guys in a bit. Oh, I forgot to clean up the thermal paste first because I am going to have to flip that upside down when I work on it. Actually, one option is I can put the heatsink on temporarily and then do that, right? Will this get in the way? No? So I could technically just put the heatsink, oh, am I putting it upside down? No, that should be right. Okay, so we go like this. I could technically just leave this on here to kind of shield it while I work on the paste, so that way I don't have to worry about accidentally getting that gunk everywhere. So I'm going to just loosely fit these screws right now, and I technically only need like 2 of them. So we'll put one there and we'll put one here. Okay, that should be enough that it's not going to fall off or go anywhere. Okay, anyways, I'm going to flip this upside down, use the solder gun, or whatever you call it, the hot air station, to heat this up, and then pull that out. And then we're going to go ahead and put this new one in. Alright, so I'm going to do that off camera, just because it's hard to film that kind of thing, and it's, I mean, if you don't know how to solder, you don't know how to solder. I'm going to heat this up and then plop that out. Alright, I don't know if I have videos showing that kind of thing, but yeah, anyways, I'm going to do that and I'll be back. Alright, so I got the blue and blackish one out already, so this is what it looks like. Alright, and then I removed all the solder that was covering the holes, and now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a little bit of this. Alright, actually it's going to be difficult for me to do this at this weird angle, so I'm likely going to have to do this off camera, but we'll see. Alright. Okay, so we got the soldering iron. Okay, and then we just get some solder here. And what you do is you heat this up, and while you're heating it, you add the solder here. Okay, but anyways, let's go ahead and do the small one first. Go. That soldered in. This one soldered. That soldered in as well. Alright, hopefully you get the idea. I'm gonna have to do this off camera because at the angles I need to do, I'm gonna end up damaging some components. So for you guys, if I try to make it so you guys can see. All right, so I'm gonna do the rest of these off camera, and I'll be back. All right, so I'm back. Let's go ahead and move some stuff around here. So I actually tested to make sure that the solder was done well by using a voltmeter, and I put it in the resistance setting, okay, to make sure that it had a good path through. Okay, and what I did was I tested the solder points here, 3 on the back and these 2, and then what I did was I touched to this pin while I touched the other side to make sure that electricity can flow through the solder joint all the way to the pin. Okay, and I did that for all 3, so this one, the middle one, and then that one, and then also this is just grounded, so yeah. Okay, I'm gonna set this box aside. We're gonna put that back there. Okay, let's zoom out again. Actually, what I need to do now, I need to clean up the what do you call there, the flux. Okay, and if you're wondering what the flux is, it helps the solder stick to the copper. Okay, so we're just gonna use some isopropyl rubbing alcohol here, and we're gonna try and clean this off. Let me actually zoom in a bit so you can kind of see that it's getting cleaned. Okay, hopefully you can see that. And then we're just gonna kind of clean this stuff up a bit. Okay, you can see that black stuff is disappearing. Okay, you're just gonna want to wipe all that gunk off. Okay. Try and get as much of it off as you can. This side for some reason doesn't want to come out. Come on, dissolve. Looks like it's coming, it's just being difficult. There you go. Alright, and the area around. Let me flip this over. Okay, and then we're going to do the other side here. Alright. Clean off all that excess flux. We don't want to leave that on the board. Let's actually fold this over to a cleaner side a little bit. Alright. And be careful not to damage the motherboard. It is flexing a little bit as we clean this, so. Okay, there we go. I think we got it all. Okay, so there we go. Set that aside. Let's zoom back out. Okay. Flip this back over. We need to redo the thermal paste. So let's go ahead and take out the 2 screws that we put back in here. Okay. There we go. I'll take this back off. Okay. Might have to pry underneath again. Slowly, carefully lift it back up. Okay, technically you can kind of leave this junk here and just add a tiny bit more paste in the center, but we want to clean it up to get the best contact possible. So yeah, I'm not gonna leave it there. All right, zoom in, at least on the CPU and GPU dies. Okay, so this is the GPU and the CPU is right here. Okay, and there's a lot of this paste here. So I might actually have to flip this upside down and then clean it off over the trash can, because I don't want this stuff to fall into the components over here. But I'll do a little bit if I can. Okay. Jeez, they way overflowed it here. So normally you don't want the paste going out over all the way into the other components there on the die. or I mean around the die. Okay. Right, so I'm probably gonna have to use a toothbrush to scrub this stuff out. Okay, we'll get what we can. As you can see, it's not all coming out. All right, I'm gonna go to this side and do the same thing. Okay. You can also use like Q-tips and stuff to do this. Whatever works for you. Okay. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to actually flip this upside down over a trash can and then use a toothbrush. But let's go ahead and do this first. All right, the heatsink. Just going to wipe this off. Okay, put way too much on this thing. All right. And clean this off. Okay. Okay, here we go. Clean that off. All right, now we need some rubbing alcohol. We're going to clean this off. Alright, clean this side off as well. Good, look at that. Alright, use the dry side to dry it off. Perfect. Alright, then you can kind of dry it, blow off any lint or whatever. Okay. Alright, I actually need to take this outside and blow the dust out of this a little bit. And yeah, I'm going to clean this up better and I'll be back. Alright, I'll see you guys in a bit. Alright, so I'm back. You can see I cleaned this all out. Alright, I'm going to now again use the rubbing alcohol. Oh, I actually forgot to clean out the heatsink thing. I cleaned out the bottom cover keyboard thing and the rest, but alright, we're just going to clean out the die because it's hard to kind of get in all these gaps around here. We can kind of do a little bit, but it's a little bit tough to kind of get in there. Okay. Alright, clean this a little bit better. The isopropyl rubbing alcohol, dry it off. Okay, dry it up. Get the lint off. Okay, so I'm gonna clean this thingy up real quick because there's some dust in there, and I'll be back. Alright, so I just used the air blower on it real quick to clean this out, and it's all clean now. It's not focusing, but you can actually see completely through it, as you can see as I rotate it. Okay, that's how you know it's clean. Alright, so now we're going to apply the thermal paste. You don't need a crazy amount. Let's rotate it this way. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab the thermal paste here. And these are square shaped, so we actually only need to put a circle dot in the center. Okay. So just about that much is already enough. We can add a little more just to be safe, but yeah. All right, I'm gonna do the same thing with this one. Okay, there we go. All right, and we're gonna just kind of center it a bit. It's hard for me to see at this angle because I'm trying to show you guys. Normally I would have my head like right over the top to get a nice top-down view. Okay, so I have to tilt it for me to be able to see better. Okay, so I believe that's pretty well centered. Take a look here. Okay, yeah, it looks pretty well centered. Okay, so now all we got to do now is put back on the heatsink, all right, and then screw it down in the order they show, and then we'll actually kind of brush off the gunk that's on top a little bit. Okay, so just line up these screw holes and these. Okay, so be very careful lowering it down. Okay, I'm gonna have to put my head in the view because I need to see what's going on here. All right, there we go. Okay, so again, they are numbered, so 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5. So what we're going to do, we're going to get the screw in. We're going to loosely fit it first. Okay, so get the screw in. Turn it till you hear it click. All right, and then 1, 2, 3. All right, get screw number 2. Same thing. Hear it click. 1, 2, 3. So I twist it backwards first just to make sure it lines up right, and then we go forwards. Okay, here, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Got this one. 1, 2, 3. And then we got this one. And the reason we do that is so that we make sure everything is aligned. Okay. Then same thing, go in here. 1, 2, 3. Second one. 1, 2, 3. Third one. 1, 2, 3. Fourth one. 1, 2, 3. Fifth one. 1, 2, 3. All right. Go again. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And I think we're going to be done now. 1, 2, 3. Oh, nope. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, okay. 1, 2, 3. I think we're about done. So now we're just going to tighten it. Just make sure it's tightened to where it's not easy to turn anymore, like it kind of gets stuck. There we go. There we go. Good, and last one. Perfect. Okay, so we got the heatsink back in. Let's go ahead and reassemble the computer. Okay, so we're going to zoom back out here. The customer didn't provide me with the charger, so I guess we will find out what happens when they plug it in. They said the connection was just loose, so it should, the issue should be resolved. All right. I do need to clean this thing off a little bit, so give me a second. Let me just use the toothbrush real quick. Pink stuff is kind of going all over the place. Okay, so I was kind of just brushing this off. There's a little bit of this pink stuff stuck here. I'm gonna kind of get rid of that because that shouldn't really be there. Okay. All right, so got that out. Let's go ahead now and try and get this motherboard back in. It was a little tricky getting it out, so let's see if it's going to be just as tricky getting it back in. So you need to move all the cables out of the way. We're going to go in at an angle. Make sure to line up the USB-C port, okay? And make sure all these cables end up back on top. Slowly lower it back down. It seems like it's easier to get it back into place than it was to take it out, okay? We're going to get these little cables out of the way. I don't know why when we were taking it out, it was kind of like stuck in there. All right. Oh, I messed up because we need to get that screw underneath here. This dumb design. Okay. So we're actually going to have to take the heatsink back off, and then we're going to have to add a tiny bit of thermal paste again. All right. Anyways, let's go ahead and pop this back up. I don't know why it's so difficult to get it back out. It was a lot easier to put it back in. All right. Okay, so we got this. Let's go ahead and take these screws out. I guess now you'll be able to see how it's spread. Okay, so let's go ahead and take these back out. It does take a little bit of time for it to spread because this paste that I use is really thick, so I don't know if it's spread all the way, but we'll find out once we open it up. And then we're probably going to have to add a tiny bit more. Okay, since now you don't want bubbles to be all in the middle, so we are going to add a tiny bit in the center so it just pushes that out, any air bubbles. All right. Okay, got all of those out. Let's go ahead and lift this back up. Slowly, carefully pull it up. Okay, and there you go. You can see it basically completely coated. Okay, both squares. There's a tiny bit in this bottom corner that it didn't really coat, but not really a big deal. It's like barely any. Okay, anyways, we're gonna put a tiny bit in the center now. And again, the reason for that is so when the thing presses down, it'll push all the air bubbles outwards, okay? This one has plenty already, but... Okay, there we go. And again, it smashes it really thin, so you kind of don't really need to worry too much about... here you can see there's the excess coming out of the sides here, and the excess coming out of the sides there. So yeah, I did put more than necessary, but it's not like crazy like how it was with whoever did it before. Okay, so we're gonna get this back in again. I guess we have to do the heatsink last. Technically, you could even just leave those screws out, or that one screw out, but let's go ahead and do it the right way. Okay, we'll go ahead and get this back in. Again, it has to go in at an angle, and then get all these cables and make sure they end up back on top. This is the annoying part, making sure all these cables end up back on top. Okay, slowly lowering it down. Again, making sure that these cables end up on top. Get the wireless card out of the way. Okay, get this cable, get this out of the way. Okay, so was the wireless card cable underneath or on top? I think it was on top here. Okay, and we have this adhesive thing is supposed to be on top. Okay, so let's go ahead and put the first screw back in for the motherboard. Make sure that you did get all the cables back out from underneath. Okay, looks like we got them all out. Okay, so now we can go ahead and put this screw in. All right, there we go. You can go ahead and actually put this cable in as well. Just tuck this back under there. Okay, line this up. Make sure you get this straight in. You don't want this cable going in at an angle. Okay. All right. Get that in, and then pinch both sides together. It's not going. There we go. Okay. Oh, I think this just popped back down into place. There we go. Okay. Make sure that's nice. Get that in. Okay, we can go ahead and fold the hinge down. Make sure it goes in properly. You don't want to damage it. Okay, slowly, carefully get this lined up. And then I'm lifting this piece up, and then we're gonna now get it lined up and then close it down together. Okay, we're gonna get these screws in. So we have this one here. Good. The other one, same thing here. right, and the other motherboard screw right here. All right, there we go. Let's go ahead now and start plugging things in. So we got the one speaker here, just get it lined up and then pinch the two together. Good. I'm going to save the Cmos or BIOS battery for last, right? Or I guess second to last because the actual battery will be last. Make sure this lines up. Get that in and clip that down. Okay. Make sure it's in all the way. Good. All right, keyboard connection. Make sure these are clean. Pull these tabs out. Okay, make sure that they are out. Get that cable in. Okay. All right, and then you can go ahead and pinch these two sides. There we go, just like that. Then we got the backlight connector here. Okay, get that lined up. There we go. And then flip that latch down. Get this, keep our fingerprint connector in. Line that up. Come on, in there. There we go. And then latch that down. Okay, what else we got? We got this cable here. I'm going to move the wireless antenna out of the way. Hopefully you guys were seeing everything I did. I wasn't really looking at the monitor to see what was recording, but all right, get that lined up. All right, flip that latch down. Good. I'm going to work this one over here. Okay, you can actually put this tape back on top if you want. Okay, same thing with this side, tuck that underneath. All right, tape this back on down as well. Don't want it to go on that thermal pad. Okay, get this wireless card lined up. All right, we're gonna push it in at an angle. Okay, you want it actually up at an angle like that. You can now slide this plastic bracket back on. Just like that. Okay. And then we need to switch over to the PH0 or JIS0 screwdriver for this. Okay, lower this down and get that screw in. Okay, what else we got? Okay, I think that's pretty much it because the fan can go in afterwards. Let's go ahead and get the heatsink back on. Again, I put little dabs in the center so that way it will push outwards and push any air bubbles out. Okay, carefully get this lined up again and drop it into place. There we go. Okay. Then we're going to do the same thing. All right, number 1, 3, number 2, 1, 2, 3, 3, 1, 2, 3, number 4, 1, 2, 3, and number 5. 1, 2, 3. We'll go here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I think they're just about done. Yep. Okay, so we'll tighten it down all the way. Make sure it's good. Good. There we go. Okay. Let's go ahead and put the fan back in so it lines up like this. Get the connector lined up. Okay, pinch it in. There we go, perfect. Get the 2 screws. I'm going to loosely fit this one first. Second screw, there we go. Let's go ahead and tighten it down. This one, tighten that down. Perfect. Okay. now we got the 2 SSDs and the battery. So let's go ahead and get the SSDs back in. Got this one on this side at an angle, pinch it in, drop it down, get this screw in place. Okay, other SSD, same thing, line it up, pinch it into place. Okay, drop it down. Alright, don't forget the Cmos BIOS battery here. Get that lined up. Pinch that into place. If you are replacing the Cmos BIOS battery, make sure you keep it the red on the left side and the black on the right. Okay. Alright, last thing we got is the battery, I believe, and then the bottom cover. So let's go ahead and get the battery. Okay, battery has these little tape strips on it, but yep. All right, get this connector lined up. That's the most important part. Again, make sure you put the connector the right way. Pay attention to that. You can see how they painted on it to, or put marker. You want the exposed pin things facing down. All right, so line this up. Okay, make sure it goes in straight and then pinch it into place. There we go. And we're going to get this. Okay, I'm going to peel this tape out and get it out of the way. All right, line the battery up. There's only 2 screws holding this in place. All right, this one down here. And this one up in this corner here. All right, so there we go. We can now go ahead and put the bottom cover back on, and we should be good to go. Get this junk off my desk. Okay, you can see the laptop is completed. Okay, let's see here. So we're going to switch back over to the T6 or Torque 6 screwdriver. We also cleaned the bottom here so it's a lot less dusty. All right, pretty straightforward, just line it up. Okay, let's go ahead and start with the back clips first because that's what we removed last. Make sure it clips in, then go down the sides and there. And everything looks good. All right, let's go ahead and get back all these T6 or Torque 6 screws into place. That one, okay, that one. And that's pretty much all there is to it. You're welcome to stay as I get all these screws back in. If this video helped you out, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. If it helped you save a bunch of money, why is it not focusing? There you go. Please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. But yeah, other than that, that's all there is to it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Right? I don't know why my camera can't focus on this. I have to like leave my hand here so it doesn't get confused. I guess the one shade of color is like too confusing to it. Focus, focus, it's so blurry. Right, also these screws here, they go in slightly at an angle because the case is angled. So make sure you're not just putting them in straight down or you can damage the computer. Okay, hopefully I didn't miss anything. I believe I got everything back in. Otherwise, customer will be back. Let's see if it'll power on. Some of these models, they require the charger to be plugged in before it will power on. But again, the customer didn't provide that, so I guess we'll test it once they come back. I'll ask them to bring their charger. Alright, that's it. Thanks for watching. Let's flip it over, see if it powers up. And it is. I see the keyboard lighting up. Usually after removing the Cmos battery, BIOS battery, whatever, it takes a while to start up. You can see the screen staying black. Should be okay. Give it some time. Alright, it's probably going to power cycle a few times and then power itself back on afterwards. So yeah, give it a few seconds or minutes. Sometimes it can take a while to start back up. So yeah, these always scare me because sometimes it can actually be dead. Hopefully it's not dead. But let's see. Alright, screen's still on, keyboard's still lit up. I don't know if you can see the keyboard lit up. Come on, wake up. Wake up. You can see how long it takes when... Come on. I hope it's not dead. What is it doing? Come on, wake up. There we go. Okay, see? And then after that, you do... Oh, what is it doing? Why is it doing a repair? Shouldn't be doing a repair. We'll let it do its thing. And then we probably just need to continue to Windows 10. Hopefully it starts up normally. Might have to restart the computer one time. Why is it just doing automatic repair? Did the SSDs get swapped around or something? Let's see. Try it again. Shouldn't be. I'm gonna have to rewatch the video and see if they got swapped around, but I'm pretty sure I put them back the right way. So let me check that real quick. I'll be back and we'll see what happens. Alright, so I confirmed I put the SSDs back in the right order, so I don't know what's going on, why it's doing this. Let me see if I boot the BIOS and check some stuff. So I'm pressing F2 and delete. Here we can see. Okay, let's see. Boot options. Why are there two Windows boot managers? That's weird. Okay, I'm gonna swap them, I guess. Is it F6? F6, F5 is to change values. So there we go. Let's switch it around. Exit saving changes, and let's see what happens. I don't know if for some reason they swapped themselves around. We'll find out. And it looks like it's booting now. Okay, so I'm going to move this out of the way in case the customer doesn't like their screen being shared. You can see the date and time is messed up because we did pull out the Cmos battery. I believe it's the 23rd right now. Let me actually check the actual date and time. It's 3:31 a.m. August 25th. Man, my brain is like messed up. Okay, anyways, there you go. It's working. Oh, I guess you can see that there. I mean, there's only a first name there, so it's probably whatever. Anyways, let's go ahead and restart the computer one time. Make sure it continues to boot up normally. Doesn't have any issues. Okay. Restarting. Okay. It should start up pretty quick now. It shouldn't stay on the black screen too long. There we go. Alright, and that's pretty much it. Again, thanks for watching. Again, if it helped you out, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. I know I didn't show the soldering part, but hopefully you know how to solder. It's hard to kind of teach solder in this short of a video because this isn't a soldering video. Like, that's not the purpose of teaching the solder. So anyways, yeah, if you want to find out how to solder, just watch some videos where people actually teach how to solder. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Just gonna shut this down, turn it off.